How's everybody going? How you doing? How's how are things, man? I haven't done a live feed in a while because we've been working like crazy vloggers, my son and I, to work on the Canadian channel, Rock History Canada. Chase and I looked at each other and thought, well, Rock History Music has at least one new video every day, sometimes up to three, a few times four if we add on if someone passes or if we just do a live feed. And Rock History Canada, please subscribe if you're interested in Canadian music. We're not begging here. We just want you to, obviously you have to have interest in it. I know some people who do what I do sometimes just go blindly on there and say, subscribe. Well, you got to like it, right? Beverly, Kimberly, hi. Nice to see you on here. I appreciate your support. So if anyone's interested in Canadian music and the history of Canadian music, we're going to be doing a lot of top 10s on that channel. I'm not sure why so many things are popping up. Tortor Porco, hi John, great to see you. Nice to see you too. Thank you. I appreciate your support always. So we have a new video on Rock History Canada every single day now. I think we're just about to put up Mike Reno of Loverboy, a chat I had with him in studio, but he's not on camera, and talking about the beginnings of Loverboy. Hello, how are you? Cold and raining here in India. Oh, where are you? Oh, Indianapolis. Well, so anyway, we decided to do that with the Canadian channel. Blue Rodeo's coming up. Who else do we have? Eddie Schwartz, who co-wrote "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." We've got lots of people coming up. And if you look at older interviews, we have like just unfathomable amount of interviews from the 80s, especially from the 80s. Anyway, that's our Canadian channel. Great David Knopfler interview, John. Thank you. Roger, or was that Roger? Sorry, it came and went too fast. Thank you. And I really enjoyed talking to David. The only thing that was somewhat controversial on there is when I told him about Danica. Danica, can you put that down, honey? Danica, can you put that down? It's too loud. My autistic daughter talks with her iPad, but she's just by herself. But she's playing. Sorry, I'm tired. We've been packing and getting rid of stuff. Just getting rid of stuff that my good friend Dawn yesterday, I talked to her and she said, John, if you don't love it, get rid of it. That's it. I'm not going to complicate things. It's just, I could give you a lot of mother statements about keeping things. So I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff. Again, I'm selling some, and like I just found a Dave Schultz, remember the Philadelphia Flyers, an autographed picture of Dave Schultz shooting on Ken Dryden. You can't really see. You could tell it's Ken Dryden because he's number 29, and autographed books, NHL books, just stuff that I don't really look at. Hi, John. Happy Sunday. This is Mary Martin. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. Mary's, being a Catholic boy, Mary's always been a big, I'm not really a practicing Catholic, but no. Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked. The controversial it's not really controversial. It was an easy interview. I've been friends with David Knopfler on Facebook, and beyond the fact that he's political, I don't have a problem with people. I'm not one of those guys who goes, dude, stick to music. What, like musicians can't talk politics, but yet your plumber can? You can talk politics, everyone's allowed. People, you don't have to listen. But anyway, controversial part was Pick Withers was going to be on the cover of International Musician. And finally, his roadie comes up to him and says, "Oh, Pick, here it is. It just finally came out." And Mark Knopfler grabs it out of his hand and looks at it and says, "Oh, I'm going to be there next month." And that was a turning point for Pick Withers. So we asked David Knopfler what he thought of that. And I didn't play the clip for him. I just explained it. But in the new clip, we play the clip. And David says, well, it's hard to be a leader. It's hard to be, he says, not everyone can do it with grace. I'm sorry. When I do the interviews and all the album covers, the signed album covers are all on the back of me. They're all in boxes. We're clearing out stuff. We're redoing stuff. So I'm tired because I've been up since 5 in the morning because my brain woke me up and went bing. So I started thinking about stuff. So that's what we're doing. The dogs are all sleeping. They're having a good time. How's it going? Anyway, I just blanked out there. Ooh, yeah. Let's do a live feed when you're starting to get a little tired. That's always a good idea. Chase, just hold on. I'll show you. Stay right there. Stay right there, folks. There's no one on screen. I've been promising you this interview for a while, and we haven't got around to it. Big concert promoter. Great book. Lots of nice pictures. He sent me the book. I think it's Bon Jovi. Yeah, was that? Yeah, Bon Jovi. Sam Kinison. I did this long interview with him, and it was just amazing. The stories he told about Zeppelin and working with a whole bunch of different people. Gave me one of the best quotes for Zeppelin 4 because it turns 50 this year. Knopfler's and what? What's that second word? So anyway, that was I'm all over the place. Sorry, but again, John, why don't you do a live feed? That'd be awesome. That's a great idea. So anyway, I was just checking in, see how everyone's doing, since I haven't done a live feed in a few days. What's it? Yeah, nuanced. I think you put that on the. Were you the person who put that Toro Porco on the site itself, the YouTube channel? Yeah, I think he's on good terms with his brother, which is one of the reasons that I think that he answered that way, right? You know? Oh, it was you. Okay, thank you. Sometimes I don't look at who comments because when I wake up in the morning, I go through the comments to make sure that they're not crazy. I don't want anybody. Yeah, the Barry Goudreau. I don't know if that's finished yet, but we have Jim Mastia, the original drummer for Boston. He's on next. We haven't chopped that up yet, but that's an interesting one. He's pretty blunt about Tom Scholz. And again, as I do with the interview, I say, Tom, if there's anything that he says that you don't agree with, you're more than welcome. There's no contact information on the Boston site. You're more than welcome to come on our channel and give us your side of the story. I mean, it's well known whether it's true or not. I mean, Tom Scholz basically put the Boston albums together. At least he had the biggest part of it. And Jim just is saying in the interviews that he should have been given more credit. So, and again, I told Jim, if you say that, people are going to attack you. It's like that Carmine Appice interview where Carmine talks about a deathbed conversation with Buddy Rich, where some people are going, that probably never happened. I don't know. I asked him a question, he answered it. So I try to take that tactic with my guests. I don't know I'm a drummer, and I've been a drummer since about 78, and Chase is a really good drummer, and he's been drumming since he was 9. He's 17 now. He's been drumming since he was 8. He's amazing. He's just like, does Tom Sawyer, does Zeppelin, does a lot of Genesis. He's really, really, really good. But drummers, I've always liked drummers. When I go to a concert, I'll check out the drummer. To Led Zeppelin live in Copenhagen, 79. Was that the last show? What was the last show? It was a Germany show. The last time they ever did a show together. I've got the bootleg, and I listened to it carefully because I don't know what I'm looking for. People always say this when people die. They go, "Oh, I just talked to him yesterday." Yep, that's right. Everyone who dies was alive the day before. It's just one of those weird human things that we do. I just talked to him. Yeah, because he was alive yesterday. And when I'm listening to the Zeppelin, what was Live in Berlin? I think it's called Live in Berlin. That's what it is, Berlin. Pretty sure. I haven't listened to it in a while. But anyways, I was listening to a track from it the other day. I haven't listened to the whole thing in a while. And again, I don't know what I'm looking for. What am I listening for? It's not like you're going to notice that they know that they're never going to be a band again. They didn't know that. How could they know? It's impossible. Would it have changed anything? No one's talking. No one's saying, "Hey, what We'll never play this way again. In the concert, Robert Plant says we're changing things up a little bit. If anyone's heard it, I gotta cross my knees. He says we're on the new album. We're changing things up a little bit. So, and of course they did with In Through the Outdoor, right? That was a very, very different album. I really liked In Through the Outdoor. Carousel Alhambra, the long piece. I love that piece. I just love it. There's a big John Paul Jones project. You know, he was heavily involved in that. So there you go. Channel's doing really well, by the way. We're very, very happy with it. We find that the other channel, Rock History Book, is really booming, which is good because Rock History Book is more me off screen and me narrating to, as you've seen, a lot of you, 5 singers who died without a lot of fanfare. I usually use people that now and then I'll have to be reminded that they're dead. I mean, I know they're dead, but I always go like, wow, like when Tom Petty died, they made a big deal. Oh, cool. I'm sure I talked to him. I just talked to Rod Argent about just before COVID broke out, and Colin Blunstone. But of course, Rod Argent in Argent. Colin wasn't in that band. So, yeah. Pick's wife, I think her name is Linda, if I remember. We're Facebook friends. She suggested, Lee Harris, who plays Nick Mason's Saucerful of Secrets, suggested that they do something. Well, my phone just told me that I need to do a 10-minute workout. Well, I guess I don't have to now. I'm doing a live feed. Felt like Bewitched there. Dude. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just sitting down on a Sunday, rambling off because I don't want to clean out the basement. I have things in my basement that I've had since 1979. Oh, Bon Jovi, huh? I've never seen Bon Jovi. I've never been a big Bon Jovi fan, but I don't dislike them. We had a station called Rock History Book, named after the other channel, where we only played fast songs. Oh, Living Color, yeah. They were a great rockin' band, huh? Yeah. God, I haven't listened to them in ages. A long time. They were a rockin' band. Are they still together? Last time I checked, they were, maybe a few years ago. I didn't know that about Steve Hackett. I should have talked to him about that. He didn't bring it up. Yeah, wasn't it interesting the fact that I had to play Out Into the Daylight for him because he didn't remember it, and because that's not on any streaming services really. Small Creeps Day by Mike Rutherford, because it's not. I didn't get a copyright strike for putting that music on, because you'll notice none of my channels. Rick Beato plays a lot of music and he gets a lot of copyright strikes, or at least has to share his monetization with the owner. I would have no problem with that, but I don't want a copyright strike. I have never had one on this channel, ever. So have I? Yeah, I'm just leery of putting music on. Really leery. You got to be careful. Really? He was in the movie Platoon? I had no idea. I don't think I could get Eric Clapton. I don't think I could get him. Someone recently said you should try for Ringo because you know Steve Lukather. I don't really know Steve Lukather. We text back and forth now and then when outside of interviews, but Neil Sean. Neil Sean's another one I've tried with Neil, and I've never really get response. I noticed that when I comment on his stuff, he would always like or comment on my comment. Well, I know the Journey boys know who we are because we used to cover Journey an awful lot, but now some other guys like to cover Journey. and I don't like I don't like doing that, getting into a competitive mindset. I think there's room for everyone, but at the same time, I'm going, yeah, they love Journey. I'll let them do a lot more Journey than I do. Obviously, if it's a big news story, we'll cover it. But there's a few guys on there that like to cover Journey. There's that one guy. What did he do recently? I forget. Anyway, not the guy with the glasses. Some other guy. He came on here once. Tesla. I've never had any. It's kind of like UFOs. I believe in UFOs. I believe in aliens rather. But I never really think about it like ever. It never enters my mind. So Tesla is a band like that. For whatever reason, they've never been in my radar. Not much. I'm going to lower this a little bit. But sure, if you know the guys. That's another thing. If anyone knows anybody and I should be interviewing them, get a hold of them. Say, hey, word of mouth makes a big difference sometimes with this sort of thing where they go, hey, this guy's cool. Look at, because Rock History Music is basically an interviews channel. It's an obituary channel and an interviews channel. Because I like doing obituaries. Why would you like doing obituaries? Because I like to honor people. And I'm always sad when our rock stars don't get on the 6 o'clock news because they died. So I've always been the guy at radio stations that would do these big obituaries. I'll always do them. And I got good at them. And yeah, that's just what I do. Rock on. Thanks, Tony. You rock on too, man. Hope you're doing okay. So that's what this channel, one day it just dawned on me, I'm going, oh, Rock History Music is just in interviews. It's in LA Guns. I've had a few chances with them. I passed on them every time because at the time I was too busy. Yeah, Gary Stuckey. That's the guy. Yeah, he's good. He means it. Yeah. And I like that. I think Gary's the guy who reached out to me. I wanted to have him on the channel, but I just get sometimes interviewing people who do what I do has to go low on the totem pole because I have to kind of stay in my lane. So yes, I'd like to interview Rick Beato and the Sea of Tranquility guy. What's his name? I forget. My concentrations. I've been up since 5, so my Pete Pardo. Yeah, seems like a good guy. So I'd like to interview these guys, but I don't always have the time because we're so busy with interviews. It's been crazy. Thank you very much. Melbourne, Australia. Thank you. Was it the Little River Band? We've got a segment on our sister channel, which is called Rock History Book, where we're going to do the top Australian acts. And that's according to the U.S. North America market, because that's what I cover a lot of. Well, cover a lot of things in England too. And lately, Pete Pardo. Thank you. He's very knowledgeable. And he does his research. And you can always tell the guys who do the research. There's guys who like will if they're too much on the ego side, they'll get, I guess, they get mixed up in people love me so much I can say anything. And that is a dangerous rope to balance on. You can tell the guys who do what I do, and they just to say they fall in love with their own information. You've got to do your research. And then you've got to admit when you don't know something. Now and then you're going to run into bands that most big bands I know about, but third tier bands who almost made it and never quite made it that you really don't know a lot about, So you rely on facts or you rely on a lot of personality and opinions. Yeah, that's on our sister channel. It's not on yet. I'm working on it right now. I don't usually use writers, but I used a writer named Jason Close, Klose, and Jason's a really good writer, and he was one of those guys. Well, I got paid for writing as well, but he was professional and did more professional writing than I did at a higher level. So last year we hired him to write maybe 30, 40 stories, all lists, because I like lists, and it's not usually top 10 because that's too long. It's top 5. So he did top artists from Chicago, the city of Chicago, top artists from Australia, biggest. We just released one biggest U.S. writing duos. We did one that is biggest writing duos from England via a certain decade. I forget which one he did. It probably was the 70s. And so he would send me these scripts. I'd look over them to make sure there were no mistakes, and he's good. Usually there wasn't. And then I'd voice it downstairs and then forget about it for a month. I'd go, I'm too busy with rock history music. Because I'm learning how to, my autistic daughter taught me this. I realized that I was very bad at switching files, going 100 miles an hour, because when I used to write professionally, I would just zoom in on something and I would just like listen to an album for a week back and forth and asking my guitar friends for opinions. And I would go in there for something I would get paid for maybe $300 for, but it was a side gig, so I didn't care. And so I would do that, then I'd leave it go. This before the internet, then I'd let it go. But now with the internet, I have 4 channels going, and I have to really go nuts on one channel and do 30 videos in 2 days and put them on and time them all out, and do that for another channel so that I can breathe and do new stuff or stuff that I've been putting off. I hope that makes sense. That's kind of what I have to do most of the time. Go 100 miles an hour on a channel, fill up the month with videos because time doesn't kill them. Yeah, I don't. I think you're allowed to do that. I don't know. I will. What you do is you say the source and you read the quote, but you don't read the article. Guitar Player magazine uses my stuff. Apple News has used my stuff. CNN has used my stuff. And they give me credit every time, and I'm happy. They don't ask. None of these people ask me for permission, and they'll write out. They'll write out. Oh, thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Everyone likes Paul. Nothing against him, but I didn't think the series would do well. I kept going, you know what? Do music fans really get him? And I hope so, because I love Paul Carrick. And they did. And the series has done incredibly well. Yeah. The other channel, by the way, Rock History Book, is we do have interviews on there. And we're starting to do the longer interviews on there, like the whole John Anderson interviews on there. And also we have a blog, not a blog, a podcast. Hi, John. Jeff Brush. I don't have my iPad today, so it's just as well so I don't look down, because I'm always looking down. Hey, John, what are you doing? So there you go. I just got a really short haircut for summer. And I'm in the sun like every day. My friends are going, you're in the sun. You tan so much. I'm going, I just tan my face. I just like going out in a t-shirt and just soaking in the sun. I'm excited. We're getting a whole bunch of new t-shirts coming in. Different designs that we created that are coming in. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of early members, managers, relatives, periphery people, maybe not so much always periphery, that are good interviews, but it's sometimes hard to get people to click on it. Oh man, what's there on it? They go, wow. For instance, Glenn Fry's brother, Alan. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, like Glenn Fry's brother was amazing. And he kind of talks like this, and I love it. I love it because he was a hard partying dude, man. In the day, he really, really was. Loved boats. There are periods of time where I talk to Alan every day, and he got us some tickets to see their family and friends discounted tickets. They're still expensive, but they're heavily discounted to go see the Eagles. Was it Caesar's Palace they were playing? Where was it? When they were doing all of Hotel California. And at the end, something had happened. I couldn't go. I'm not sure what you mean by my read. What do I think of him? He is one of my favorite interviews. And in the last 3 years, I've talked to Steve Hackett twice a year. And at one point I asked him, I said, you know who I am, right? And I didn't mean that in a big-headed way. I said, but you remember me, right? And he says, yes, of course I do. I've seen some of your videos. Because I wasn't sure. He'd say, hey, John, nice to see you. How you doing? And I'm going, he does a lot of interviews because it meant a lot to me because I'm such a big fan of his. And I kind of wanted him just to say it because I was like a little kid. I kind of wanted him to say, yes, John, I know who I know your work, right? And that meant a lot to me because I'm such a big fan, like I said, of his solo work, his work in Genesis. He's the one guy in Genesis that I've talked to the most. And I've talked to a lot of periphery people, speaking of, in Genesis. Anthony Phillips is another guy who was a real treat to talk to. Really, really nice guy. I just talked to a Canadian, Jimmy Rankin, who was part of the Rankin family. They're from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, out east in Canada. And one of my favorite interviews, like just Graham Goebel. I was just telling him because I talked to Graham just a few days ago for a second time. And I told him, I said, my wife keeps saying, my God, I've never seen you get out of an interview and talked about someone so much. Graham Goebel of Little River Band. If I lived near him, I'm sure we'd see each other as friends because we just have a nice connection. It was really nice. And he emailed me like twice today, and we just talked about albums and stuff. I'm putting together a special on his album Let It Rain. It's a classic album. It's beautiful. Herbie Herbert, no, of the manager, no. I have his contact information because my friend Lori interviewed him. So I'm not sure if I've tried. There was one Sunday morning 2-3 weeks ago. I just went nuts. The 2 remaining Doors, the 2 remaining Monkees. I was just going crazy trying to get all these interviews and never heard back from anybody. Like on that particular day, I think I emailed 20 people and heard nothing back from anybody. Graham Goebel interview, thank you. Greg Raleigh, my friend Lori interviewed Greg's wife. I'm not sure in what capacity or what she does. And I got contact information and I contacted them as well and heard nothing back. That was that Sunday morning. Greg was one of those people. Corpus Christi, yeah. Triumph. We have all 3 members. I'm not sure if it's going to be 3 members. I'm assuming it's going to be with some re-releases from Triumph. So next month I have to get a hold of them and see if I can I know I'll get Rick Emmett because hi. Phone at 5, my little autistic wonder. You having a good day? That's her making that. Well, I'm always thinking of having a sort of a panel of people. You can put that on there. Yeah. She's obsessing about the blanket. With autism comes OCD. Rick Wakeman. I had Rick, but then at the promoter said, contact me in 2 months and he'll be ready to roll. And this happens all the time. Nothing against a promoter, but it happens all the time where by the time the promoter's juggling cats with all these interviews and all the promo, and by then he just said, no, he's not available anymore. So I would have liked to talk to him because he's got such a great sense of humor. John Anderson told me, I said, one of the fans had asked, you crazy. One of the fans asked me to ask John Anderson, does Rick Wakeman tell good dirty jokes? John Anderson said, yes, he does, but he keeps telling them over and over because he keeps forgetting he's told me the jokes. So, that kind of stuff. John Anderson has like there's always little funny. No, Bruce, I never have. I've not gone into the metal side too much, even though they're kind of they've crossed over, that band especially because of the success on the charts. Men at Work, yeah. Colin Hay. I remember I had a 78 Trans Am when Business as Usual came out. Yeah, with the funky chicken on the hood. I was going around Edmonton with my gold. It was gold inside and outside with vinyl seats and not vinyl. Was it cloth seats or whatever it was? Driving through Edmonton, listening to Men at Work, Business as Usual. Yep. And I remember my friend on the passenger seat. He bent over. He hit himself in the front seat, the passenger seat, and my windows were down because I didn't have AC in the car. Didn't. And he's yelling out, "I love chicks, boss! I love chicks!" And here I am trying to cower down, going, "Oh no, shut up!" And he's yelling, and there's women, there's people everywhere, and he's yelling out, "Hey, boss, I love chicks!" Okay. We that's passable stuff, but last 2 times we were on, we had to ban a few people because they were just saying awful things. Not about me. No, we didn't talk about it. I don't know why. I talked to both of them, and I talked to Graham twice. If you combine both of my Graham Goebel interviews, I'd say we talked for 6 hours. Taped interview, like on record. The first one was 3.5 hours. And the second one, the last one a few days ago, Go West or Aha. I didn't know the album tracks for either one of those bands. I'm actually going back to Go West because I always liked their kind of the power punch, with a touch of soul in there. I just love that stuff. I don't know if John Farnham is attainable, and John Farnham's not that well known in North America, which is weird because he's freaking Elvis in Australia. I don't know. There was the interview where we talked, an old interview that Steve Burgess did with Tower Power. I think it was Steve Burgess. I got the interview downstairs, and they were talking about their around 1975 when things were really, really good, and then the downfall going into the 80s. They were going, some of the songs that we were doing, the albums sometimes weren't the greatest or up to par, or we kind of lost our footing a little bit. But Tower Power is always a band that says, yeah, but we had that song on here. We had that song on here. Has had like 30 tours. Has he really? I don't know. He's not in my frame of reference. Okay. Thank you. Someone was saying a while ago, look like you're getting a lot of sun. Yeah, I feel alive by getting sun. I walk a lot with the dogs. They're both sleeping right now. They're rocking it. Excuse me. Yeah. The Australian thing intrigues me a lot, and we're getting a lot of subscribers from Australia. We always keep our spotlight. I mean, really, I'd like to do a thing on, and I think, no, it's always sporadic. Yeah, Rocco. That was a good clip we did about Rocco. There was a lot of juggling when you do that kind of documentary style clip where you ask 3 people the same story, and you don't want anyone to repeat what someone else said, so you really got to listen. It's kind of like, one guy says, well, we're on this road trip and it was kind of crazy. And then the second guy would say something like, because they're all 3 separate interviews. And you'd wait for him to say the crazy thing, and hopefully he'd come in with it's so much juggling. It takes hours to do it. But I like those videos the best, but I could never do too many of those. Oh, Keen, yeah. I haven't thought of them in a while. There's always that thing about doing periphery to I was just watching SCTV today on YouTube. Yeah, I wouldn't. Coldplay's not in our. See, I do Level 42, but that was an 80s band. That was an incredibly tight band that a lot of musicians admired. Dire Straits, we just did. I always have to keep that in mind. I mean, if someone approaches me and said, "Hey, I'm so and so, and my uncle was in UB40," I probably wouldn't do the interview. I have this thing, I've never liked UB40. I have nothing against the guys, but I've never, it's strange, they're huge in the UK. It's so big. But none of their music ever did anything for me. There was an interview I just found today from, speaking of that era, who is it? My mind's just, Swing Out Sister, Corinne Drury, the lead singer. They were recording an album, and my son's going to go through it. I'm going to see if they talk about Breakout. I'm sure I asked her about Breakout because I just simply love that song so much. And I like the fact that they got into some jazzy stuff. Steel Pulse. Reggae music never did anything for me. But, again, yeah, that's true, eh? Natalie Merchant, yeah. Again, another artist that never mind. A lot of her stuff sounded the same to me. But it's kind of like someone who can't appreciate Rush, they will say the same thing. I used to think that of Rush, and then I got to really love the band a lot. Everything about them. And they didn't all sound, AC/DC. People who really love AC/DC are not going to say, well, some of them will, that everything sounds the same. And I'm not a huge AC/DC fan, but I've got, on digital, I've got every one of their albums. I don't know. Getting a lot of people on here for a Sunday. Yeah, it's true, Roger. I like a lot of the power pop of the 80s. That talking to Phil Gould meant a lot, and he was in a real comfortable spot. I'd seen him we're Facebook friends, so I'd seen him talk about Level 42 and how he lost trust in the band. And and at one point he said, that was a part of my life on Facebook. And I went, oh, maybe he doesn't want to, I want to interview him, but he has to talk about Level 42. And he gladly did. Very openly for that case. And I hope people get David Knopfler for what it is. I mean, that Mark is his brother, and I think he's on good terms. Oh, the 80s. Well, see, there's another example. Graceland, I never really got into. I didn't hate it, though. But I think the last, still crazy after all these years, I think might have been, no, One Trick Pony would have been the last before Graceland, quite a few years before. Would have been, yeah, One Trick Pony was the last one I bought. Not familiar with that one, no. Oh, love Lou Gramm. I've been trying to get Lou Gramm. If anyone knows his manager, someone on here actually gave me the information on it, and he's re-releasing sort of his a box set, I think. So I'm gonna go in with that. Oh, I don't want to sneeze. 79 was a crazy, crazy good year for music. Someone asked me the other day, what's the most wasted interview you ever did? Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd. I wasn't prepared enough. And all I talked about was the Gaddabouts album with Edie Brickell, Paul Simon's wife. That's all I talked about. And I'm going, what? I've got Steve Gadd here. I asked him, oh, what are the things people talk about the most? They ask you the most. He says, well, Steely Dan and stuff like that, Paul Simon. And I kind of left it at that. I mean, what the hell were you thinking about? And that's just 10 years ago. Yeah. Oh, New Radicals. Yeah, remember that hit that sounded a lot like You Get What You Give? Like a lot like Todd Rundgren. I remember thinking, did Todd Rundgren go all pop again? And they said, that's the New Radicals. Oh, you met Paul Simon. That's cool. Talked to Todd online maybe a few months into COVID. And we were going to do it. Then he couldn't do it because he was crazy busy. It's his exact words. And then I just got busy too. I'd like to talk to him. I like the way he drums. He's got a lot of pizzazz when he drums. When he does that. I like when he does that. Nick Kershaw. Yeah, that'd be an idea. I could certainly get a hold of him because of, what's his name? The drummer that I just interviewed. He worked with Elton John. What's wrong with my brain today? I'm so scattered. Actually, the last few I did, I was kind of scattered. So, no, I haven't had a drink. God, it's the daytime. I would never drink in the daytime. You're 13? Carter W? Tom Schultz, there's no way of getting a hold. Does anybody know how to get a hold of him? I don't know. There's no contact information on the Boston site. Yeah. So. Oh, Charlie Morgan, that's his name. Charlie Morgan, who played with Elton John, also was on the first, 5 Nick Kershaw albums. I could get a hold of Charlie. Donald Fagen, I don't think that would happen. I don't think I could get it. Yeah, MTV was amazing. We had Much Music here. We didn't have MTV. I'm in Canada, so we saw clips of MTV all the time, but I didn't have it. Excuse me. Oh God. I think I'll try to sleep till 6 today. Hi. We're getting stew tonight. Daddy made stew. Okay, we're staying home. Yeah. Yeah. Be good, Johnny. What's he say in the middle of it when he's talking to the kid? He's talking to little Johnny as if he's up to no good. What was that quote again? I haven't heard it in a while. When we had the rock station, Be Good, Johnny, we used to play that song. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm playing music for you there. Go West, Peter Cox. Was he the singer? I don't know the two guys' names. I don't know them. You know who I liked in the 80s? Johnny Hates Jazz. I love that band. That was just great driving pop music. It was a little whammish for me, but I loved it. Because that's what they were doing, right? Everyone was doing Wham back then. But Johnny Hates Jazz, I love. Well produced. Love that stuff. Oh, Fine Young Cannibals. Yeah, what? There's a story. There's a story of a band who was on top of the world, right? And I know he went off and did the acting thing. Rick Astley would be really cool because he's a great interview. Does anybody know him? I have to be careful with the more popish things because I'm clear with, I have to watch my demographic. That's kind of what we do. Stay in your lane. I've never been a big U2 fan, but I appreciate them. I was just listening to them today. I had to go pick up a, look what I did today. I went and picked up, see the vent there? I went across town and picked up, oops, there he goes. I went across town, and that's a dog toy, and picked up that vent today, and my USB in my car just played U2. I didn't know that. No. Midnight Oil. I bought one album in my whole life. A fact. I was never a big fan of their. The Fix, yeah. I remember we on the album with One Thing Leads to Another. I remember our radio station played like 4 tracks off that album. Big Country. I was just reading about Big Country today. How sad it was that their singer committed suicide. Yeah. Duran. I don't know if they're attainable. I tried a few years ago. I don't know what happened to them. Good. Give me some information. That would be great. Anyone want to get a hold of me? My email address is in the About section of this website. You can email me anytime. It's just johnbeaudin@icloud.com. But watch the spelling of Beaudin. It's Beaudin. But go into the About page. If you know anyone I should interview, just email me. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to everybody, right? We can't do that with the comments always because the size of the channel now, we're almost at 80,000 every single day. There's so many comments we go through every day. And maybe 1 in 100. No, not even that. Maybe 1 in 300. Someone will say, "Who is this clown?" Because they don't know who I am and they don't like me. And that's okay. I'm not sure what album it was. I'm trying to get Lou Gramm right now, but it doesn't look good. His manager got back to me. He says, "I'll ask him." And I forget what his name is, but I've got it on my MacBook. And I thought, well, that's great. That'd be really nice, I just did a clip with Ian Anderson, not the current interview, the one before it, where he says Lou Gramm is one of the greatest rock vocalists that ever lived. And love the channel. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. It's always nice when I think that one of the reasons I do the live chats is it's nice to actually talk in real time with a lot of you. Again, there's always rumors that YouTube will have a system where I can let people in, we'll all talk together. It's kind of, you got to watch that because you almost want a 3-second delay. Because, yeah, Lou Gramm is amazing, you're right. Because I forget who it was. It might have been Charlie Morgan. I've tried Lindsey Buckingham. I haven't heard back. Where we get someone who put on snot over and over again. It was just plugging up. It was just plugging up the feed. And I mean, besides the fact that it was funny, and I did ban the person after, because that's all they were doing. They were just trolling us. But I mean, it was kind of funny. You stumbled across. Oh, thanks, Scott. But you can't get Bono. You can't. And Bono doesn't do interviews unless he's promoting something, and rightly so. Most artists don't. Yeah, that's the way it goes. I mean, I've been in radio 38 years, and they want to promote something. I've never tried Paul Rogers. I should, because he lives in Vancouver. I'm not sure if he's there now, because I just saw. Oh yeah. Oh, thanks, Carter. I just saw a thing of him biking in the desert someplace. So he's not in Vancouver. There's no desert in Vancouver. I don't know where he was. I've tried for Don Felder. Jethro Tull's been fun. Yeah. I should reach out. I was just talking to someone who's connected to them, to Getty and Alex. I don't know. I don't want to put the guy in a difficult situation. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what you're asking. Signed albums in the music room? Yeah, in the room downstairs in our big man cave. But we've taken them all down because we're just looking at possibly moving. We don't know yet. Paul Stanley, I've not tried. I like the fact that he's trying something different. Good for him, and he's unapologetic about it, which I like. I'm going, freaking Paul Stanley, do whatever you want. Good for you, That went by too. A Cowboy Star. Cowboys Star. Okay.
Brushes.
No, Kiss is still around. Kiss will do a farewell. Good for them. When I did a thing where I talked about their farewell tour, and I was kind of giggling through it. And I don't take it back because I kept going, oh my God, another farewell tour. Especially from them. But all the power to them, really. They've given a lot. I had their first, 4 or 5 albums. Yeah, Ian Drury and the Blockheads. Lee Harris, who we interviewed, was in the Blockheads. He said, damn good time. Phil Keaggy. I used to play some of Phil Keaggy's, a few instrumental songs when I was doing New Age music. I know he's into the Christian stuff, but it was really good stuff. Someone keeps wanting to talk about Lou Gramm and the Shadow Kings over and over again. I don't really know anything about that. Yes, the Stranglers. I got into them really late in life and was surprised how I just thought they were straight out crazy punk rock. And then I listened to them and going, there's a lot of great melodies in the stuff they do. But it was late. It was like not until 10 years ago. And I went, man, this stuff's melodic. Well done. But again, I saw the name and I went, yeah, I'm not interested in that. But in my business, you have to. Oh, cool. That's cool. Very cool. There's a lot of UK bands that, okay. It's a lot of Lou Gramm stuff. Oh, Rich Sambora. Never tried. I never tried John Bon Jovi either. Yeah, I never. I think Lindsay will probably come back if he has the health to do it. I think they're gonna. I don't know. I think COVID has done stuff to people in a good way as well. I think that people are saying, let's just bury the hatchet. And it's pure speculation. But Mick Fleetwood said he'd be open to it. Oh, yeah. Huey Lewis. I don't know how to get a hold of Huey. I'm sure that the guys in Tower of Power know his number. I don't like to put artists in that situation. It's not an artist. I interview the guys in Tower of Power. I don't know them. It's not like, even with Lukather, I wouldn't put Steve Lukather in it and say, hey, Steve, can you hook me up with Ringo Starr? I'm not going to do that to him. And that puts him in a precarious, like kind of a weird situation. It's rare when I do that. It's rare. That went by way too fast. I was just talking to one of Miles Goodwin's promoters on Friday because Miles has a brand new song. Check it out on I love everything Miles Goodwin's done. I think Miles Goodwin is one of the most underrated Canadian performers in the history of Canadian music. He just, as much success as they've had, I think he's my favorite. He's just my favorite. People say, what's your favorite Canadian band? I say April Wine. And I stopped being apologetic about that a long time ago, like even in high school. They were always my favorite Canadian band. As far back as I can remember, April Wine was my favorite Canadian band. I like Miles Goodwin's melodies. So anyway, we were just talking, Eric Alper, who handles a lot of his stuff. Leland, I've tried twice. If you know Leland, get a hold of him, say, John Beaudin wants you on I can't read all the clips, guys, by the way. Some of them are coming by way too quick and I don't see them. From my end, they come out a little different than yours sometimes. I don't know why I get like that. I'm going, I can't possibly read that. And I don't have my iPad charged up because usually my iPad, they're slower. So that's the way of the world, man. I gotta take off here in about 12 minutes. So anyway, yes, if anyone knows someone I should have on there, talk to them and then get a hold of me. Yeah, I need Neil Finn stuff. I mean, God, so many like Crowded House, Split Ends, and Fleetwood Mac and solo stuff. Well said. You're listening to what? Sorry, I did you say after the gold rush? 100K subscribers. Well, we're gonna get there one of these days.
Brushes.
I still haven't put advertised a few things on our sister channel. We have a pretty good trailer now. We have to advertise that, but it's money. It's money, you know, and the channel makes money, but it's not as much money as you'd think. So we're at limited funds to promote the channel and to get us to 100,000. We get sometimes 100 subscribers a day, which is great. I mean, for a channel. Bobby Kimball, he's been on the channel. He's been on here 3 times, maybe 4. Yeah, and Bobby's not in a good place right now, so he's not going to be doing any interviews. He's not well. Danny Elfman, I'd love to interview Danny Elfman. Talk about Batman, that soundtrack. Ungle Bungle. Do you have a secret No, this is my voice. You think this is a radio voice? I don't have a radio voice. I'm a radio guy that's been on radio for 38 years without really having a radio voice. I used to talk like this a little bit on the radio in the beginning of my career, but I sound like a freaking idiot. So I found my voice by doing new age music. In '86, I started, the wave format, KKSF, The Quiet Storm, all that. I had a show called Nightlight, which was 42 hours of new age and contemporary jazz, which turned into smooth jazz, but every single week. And I used to just talk like this. And I thought, oh, I'm allowed to talk? Oh, well, thank you. Toro Porco, thank you. Advertising fund. Well, that's sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I started just talking like this on the radio, just basically. I was a little softer. I'd be having fights with my girlfriend at the time, and she'd go, well, people should know you're not like that all the time. And you're going to get that with every personality who does something. Even a plumber acts differently at work than he probably does at home. We're all affected a little bit. Oh my God. Bob Merck, thank you. Oh, thank you for the super chats. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. We'll put it right into advertising. Trust me. We need all the help we get. So anyway, I started doing the new age format in '86. Started talking just normally on the radio because it's new age music. So I kind of go, Nightlight on CKXM. I'm John Beaudin, and how's it going? So I'd whisper a little bit, but then that turned into more of a natural way of talking because I'd listen to myself and I'd go, I sound pretentious. I can't talk like that on the radio. Oh my God. So anyway, we stopped. So anyway, that's how I found my voice. Then I got into the smooth jazz format, and then I thought I got to get back to rock. So years ago, I got back to rock and started doing the Rock History Book radio network and channel, and then that became too much work. And I thought, I'm doing videos. You're welcome. Thanks, Bob. I like Dave Koz. Yeah, I've interviewed Dave several times. I've interviewed most of the smooth jazz guys and a lot of the new age guys several times, like Michael Hedges, who's no longer with us, all the Windham Hill people, Will Ackerman, Alex DeGrassi, not Liz Story, Barbara Higbee, Michael Manring, oh God, Mike Marshall, Suzanne Ciani, A lot of the big, and in jazz, George Benson and hold on. I think they're going to. I never interviewed Pat Metheny. I've talked to Nando Loria, who was his guitarist. Well, Pat Metheny's a guitarist, but one of his guitarists and his background singer for the last few years. Nando's album, was it not Point of No Return? I forget what it's called. One of the greatest albums I've ever owned. And he knows I feel that way because I talk to him now and then. I play the drums. Yeah. I haven't played in a while. When COVID started, I started playing a little bit more. Then I went, I don't have time. My son's a great drummer. It's rare for an artist to give me 10,000 subscribers. I got the most subscribers in a span of an hour doing the Eddie Van Halen send-off. I did the obituary thing, the tribute video, and I immediately went on live. And when I got off that, that hour or whatever it was, I had 200 subscribers. And not to mention how many I got after that. So Mark Isham, I never interviewed. I just found out Mark Isham is he a JW or is he a Scientologist? He might be a Scientologist. Yeah, just one of the interesting religions. The ones where you want to sit him down and talk to him because you find something that gets you through the night. I don't care what you are. I've Al Stewart in a second I'll talk about. So I always like to talk like George Benson's a JW, a Jehovah's Witness, and I've said this story many times. The person who set up the interview said, if you want more of George Benson, if he gets tired, start talking about being a Jehovah's Witness. You'll have him for another half hour, and it did. I can't find the interview anywhere. I don't know where it is. Al Stewart, I've never interviewed Al Stewart, but there's 2 interviews downstairs in the basement. The interviews were just put in boxes because we don't have time to get to them right now, and the possibility of us moving, we don't know. So we have to be ready. So yeah, there's so many people I want to interview. There's a few big artists that are big iffies right now. So we'll have to wait and see. What was that? Sorry, that came up really fast. Was that Russell Walder? I interviewed Iris Stein, not Russell Walder. I guess that departure from Russell Walder and Iris Stein, and they recorded 2 albums on Windham Hill. That wasn't good because when I interviewed Iris Stein, he was not very nice about his old cohort. So that happens. People think in new age music it doesn't happen. I interviewed Peter Cater, who's I think from Colorado. And I've said this story before. I said, why don't you do like little piano interlude things for new age speakers anymore? He says, because the crap that I hear backstage from these supposed really new age guys, he says, I don't want to do those anymore. This was 15 years ago, so maybe he's doing them again. Mind you, no one's doing anything right now. So yeah, new agey people, they're just like anybody else. They have bad days too. And there's some people who are just selling. It's like religion. They're selling new age, but they're not really new agey or spiritual. They're not, I still like the term new age. Is it old age? People say. Sorry, there's so many comments coming in. Joe Walsh, I have not tried, but I'm going to go back in to try to get Don Felder. Anyway, I got to go. God, I got to make supper. Well, I got to reheat supper. I made stew yesterday. Good old Danica stew. Stew. Phone at 5. She gets phone at 5 and 6 o'clock. That's why I've got to get ready because she's 22, but she watches Bernie videos because she's autistic. That's what happens. So, no, I'm not that familiar with Rare Earth, really. Yeah. Give Danica a big hug. Well, thanks for keeping me company. I appreciate that. And thanks for the super chats. We will put that money towards advertising. We're going to advertise on Facebook. You might even see it pop up on your stream because if you follow us, and maybe by default it'll come up on your Facebook. So um, we need to get to 100,000 subscribers. It looks good, but it'll get us a lot more interviews, and that's kind of what this channel's interviews. I've said before, interviews, obituaries, major things that happen in rock that would try to stay away from gossipy things. Or I know all this stuff. Dweezil Zappa, is that what that was? I couldn't see it. I've never tried. Probably a good interview. Um, who was I just talking to the other day who mentioned Dweezil? It might have been, yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Where'd I put the book? I forget. Might have been Danny. I'm pretty sure because there's pictures of him. I mean, look at inside this book. Get this book. It's such a great book on basically, and it's a nice book too. So Chase is cutting up that interview right now. Took us a while to get to it, but at that time I was doing 3-4 interviews a week.
Brushes.
I don't think I've even did one last week because we were trying to make Andy Partridge. Yeah, I'd like to talk about stage fright. There's a major stage fright. That's like one of the ultimate stage fright stories, right? I saw XTC, I think, with the Cars. Or the Police. Might have been the Police. I can never remember. North American Tour, someone probably knows. And yeah, it's when I saw the story on Andy, I remember thinking, what?
Brushes.
It's worse than I thought. And you see that documentary on XDC? It's an amazing documentary. I forget what it's called. Look it up on pay-per-view. For me, it was free. We might be moving, just for a change. Might be moving. We don't know yet. Just something to do. We've been in this house since
Brushes.
2004, I think. I've lived in this house longer than any other house that I've ever lived in. And after a while, it's like when I used to love my Trans Am with the funky chicken on the hood. You learn that you can love the car, it just won't love you back. It's just the way it goes. And yeah, speaking of the Cars, Elliot Easton, yeah. I should try. I mean, the Cars lost both their lead singers, so I'm sure that's kind of done with Rick and Ben. So I'm getting so many things.
Brushes.
Oh yeah, Bob, it was a great car. It was, like I said, a 78, so it had the Hawk front before 79 where they had where it just, I don't know. What am I doing with my hands? What the hell? Stop it! But anyway, it was 77 and 78 were the two Hawk whatever you call it, front ends. And like mine was gold, didn't have a T-top because I didn't want a T-top because everyone was complaining they were leaking anyway. And I'd been a big fan of Camaros, and then there's Z28s and Firebirds, and then their Trans Ams, and all the formulas and Berlinettas and all the things that all the other models that came with both of them. Rally Sport, I think, was one of them.
Brushes.
But I wanted a Trans Am. Before I had the Trans Am, I had a 73 Camaro with a blue one with a black vinyl roof, which got totaled the night of the Police concert. I got in a minor accident driving to meet them, and then we came home, and then my girlfriend, future wife, tailgated someone. Not tailgated. She rear-ended someone.
Brushes.
So I didn't get most of that. It's coming up, and the Barry Goudreau was nice. Barry just sent me his album. He sent me MP3s, but he asked. He said, "What's your address, John?" And so it was very nice about the interview. He said he really appreciated the fact that we did a track by track for him.
Brushes.
Because track by track videos we make zero money on. We don't monetize them. We're using their music. Thanks for, oh, I'm glad, David, you like Phil Gould. Amazing drummer, crazy drummer. I saw Level 42 open up for Steve Winwood, and it was just crazy. There's a section of the interview I didn't even put in because I sound like a blubbering idiot. Oh, you're the best, Phil. But he is. He was one of my favorite drummers. Oh, cool. Barry's solo album from 1980 was just mind-blowing to me. It was just like the third Boston album. It's the album we all wanted. So anyway, enough talk about Trans Ams. I had a Ford Probe that I really liked, and all my friends go, that's not even a real sports car. I think that's the first year they changed the Mustang from the boxy one to the roundy one. I found that Mustang was so ugly.
Brushes.
And all my friends said, you're going to get a sports car. And I told them, I said, well, I got a Ford Probe.
Brushes.
And they went, that's not a sports car. You know, the last model they had before they discontinued. It had the hideaway headlights. I love that car. I don't know. And I could afford to buy a Mustang, and I didn't buy it because I thought it was ugly. Yeah. I had a Chrysler Laser.
Brushes.
You reading my mind? Chrysler Laser was the first new car I ever bought. The first year, I think 84? The Chrysler Laser came out. I liked it because it had the round where you open the door. It was like this, roundy, kind of like a Porsche 928. Shani Poo Head t-shirt. I missed that. Oh, well, put it up again. She's at work right now. She's about to get off.
Brushes.
Anyway, the Laser. Oh, not yet. You have to wait. Go, Chase. Can you give her your phone? Then go get Chase's phone. The Laser had a lot of things wrong with it at all times. It was a turbo, and I loved it. But I think my running joke was there was at least 14 things wrong with it at all times. And then from there, I got rid of the car because I couldn't. Someone bought it from me. I took over the payments or something, and I bought a 75 Cordoba with the Corinthian leather seats. Remember, Ricardo Montalban. And that was a boat. That was such a big car, but man, it had the nicest ride. It was just crazy. What about it? Oh, yeah, she wanted me to take that down. That car was a hot mess, yeah. Yeah. It's too bad because I enjoyed driving the Lasers so much. I just loved that car. And then there was always something wrong with it. Always something. And it was the first year of a car. They say never buy the first year of a car, but when I left, oh, thank you, DM. The Living Years really had that effect on so many people, huh? And the fact that Paul Carrick sang the song and he lost his dad as a kid, unlike Mike Rutherford, he still, as he said in the clip, could still relate to it. And yeah, interesting thing. Very, very interesting. Anyway, I'm going to go pack some more boxes, but first I'll reheat the stew I made yesterday. Shan's a great cook, but outside of 2 days, she's never here for supper. And on weekends, she works till 5. She's in new home sales. She's not a realtor, though. Living Years. What? Bob, oh my God. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I've never gotten a donation that big, ever. My God. Thank you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I really appreciate that. Thank you. What? Enjoy your stew. Oh, wow, Bob. Thank you. You're the man. You win the internet right now. This kind of you. Yeah, someone was asking a while ago, we're not sure where we're going, what we're doing, where we're going. We're just testing the market right now. I don't know, is the real estate market where you live crazy? Because, for instance, in the east coast of Canada, it's crazy. Your wife left you? Thank you, Bob. Sorry to hear that. That's the hardest time in my life. marriage broke up. My first marriage broke up. I mean, now she's one of my best friends. She's friends with my wife. But at the time, you don't have that perspective. Again, Bob, by the way, thank you. Highest donation we've ever had. The the house market here is starting to get crazy. The house market in British Columbia, as most of you know, in Toronto, is insane, but it's just kooky. Thanks, Bob. So you always wonder if you're going to move, can you even afford to go where you want to go, or do you want to stay here and just live in it's a seller's market. Where are you injured? I didn't get the rest of it's definitely a seller's market. In our house, we've painted the whole house. We painted the outside. Well, we had siding on our house, so you don't have to paint that. Yes, Stephen, you're right. Yeah. A lot of Canadians are, well, snowbirds, right? So, I agree, DM. It has to crash sooner. Well, they always say that about Vancouver. I am on a radio station every single night in Vancouver, and I can't afford to move back. Mind you, I moved here for autism for our daughter because there was no funding in Vancouver for her or British Columbia. So that's why we had to move. But now she's 22 and she doesn't have that she doesn't need those services anymore. So we'd like to move back, but we can't afford to. No, is that right with New Mexico? Oh, I missed that last comment with the prices. Sorry. Oh, I don't know if I'd move out of state for politics. I don't know. I lean very left, but I have a lot of people, as long as they're not into conspiracy theories, that lean right in my life. As long as they're not extreme. And I'm not extreme left, so. Oh, is that right, Bob? Yeah. I think this whole cycle hopefully will one of these days have people agree to disagree again, I find I'm having great conversations with people who lean right in the last few months. But again, they're not into conspiracy theories, or they're about telling the truth, and I'm about telling the truth. And we've been here since 2004, and we moved to Calgary in 2002. Chase was born in 2003. So we've been in this house. But anyway, everything's new in here. We just did the hardwood floor is new. The carpet that I'm sitting on here is new. The entire house is painted inside and out. All the trim was painted. We've got, great air conditioner outside. It's a big thing. But we need a change. We need a change of some type. We don't know what it is yet. We're just testing out the market. We're going to see what's going to happen. And I'm 61. I'm going to do what I'm doing here for another 10 years. If I remain healthy. I like doing it. I love working with my son. I love working with Chase. You rock, Chase. Oh, is that right? Taxes are too high? Oh, Bob, you're 63. Are you watching the clock? I'm watching the clock. At 61, I'm watching the clock. I ask every artist I talk to. I'm going, are you watching that clock? Are you aware of your age and who you are and, watching your health? And almost everyone says, yeah, of course. I can't do the things I used to do before, not only physically, but they say with bad habits, right? Change is good. Yeah, Prince Philip, he was a true rocker. Well, being a Canadian, I think the monarchy's kind of cool, but I don't pay much attention to it. I've seen Prince William. He came to my town in northeast New Brunswick in Miramichi, and I saw him with Queen Elizabeth. And I remember that my friend Jeff and I were there was a store called Lounsbury's, and we were in the corridor of the store. And at one point, the Queen's waving like this, and she looks right at us, and she goes like this. And I don't know why. It was so strange. I kept going, why did she just do? She's probably the sun could have gotten in her eyes or something like that, or else she might have thought the old that's a bad egg. No, we were good kids. We didn't get into trouble. Oh, is that right? Yeah, well, again, we're not rich or anything. We're just middle class, and we have an average house in our neighborhood. It's all brand new houses, but they're all houses like this. You'll see it. Look, they're all houses like that. That's the back of our house. In the back looks just like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's all kind of that kind of situation. And we like our neighborhood. We like our neighbors. We get along with them for the most part. But some of them are new. A lot of cultures are coming in, which I like a lot. I like Vancouver for the fact that it had a lot of different cultures. I like a melting pot. I do like that. We have a wonderful Indian woman who lives three doors down, and one day she invited me over. She's, well, I said, my God, your cooking smells amazing, right? I love curry. And she says, well, anytime you want to come in, I'll cook you something good. And they always have these huge gatherings with their families. It's quite nice. But I like culture. I just love. Oh, sorry, I missed that. I missed that comment. Run that by me again for concerning Bob. I missed it completely. Someone tell me, please. I'm going on and rambling about culture. Injured table tennis player. Email me at John. Go into the About section. You go channels, blah, blah, blah in the YouTube channel. Go click on the About. My email address is just there. Email me anytime. It's John Beaudin at iCloud.com. If there's somebody, lost your missus, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I hung out with a guy named Ted years ago, and he lost his wife, Norma. And I remember he told me, he says, they say it takes 5 years to get over someone. Thank you, injured table tennis player. Sorry about it. And there's no loss like that. We're all at our age, all of us who are here are well-versed in death. Hi, Rick. How you doing? Everyone, well, not everyone. I miss Rush. When something doesn't exist anymore. Hey, Toots, how you doing? Nice to see you. We almost went offline here. We're concerts. Well, they're starting in some states. I've seen some people are having concerts. If you can pack into a plane, I don't know why you can't pack into I'm so safe because Shannon has an autoimmune disease, and if she got it, she'd probably die. And I'm not going on a plane either, but there should be some semblance of, hi, you doing okay? Phone at 6, yeah. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Yeah. You happy? Love you. No, love you, Dada. She does that sometimes. You're sweet. When Danica's happy, she's really happy. She's like really happy. And when she's not, hey, you're the other side of the coin. That's okay. And when it's done, it's done. Yeah, Texas. Well, I'm a little afraid of what. Oh, thank you, Tor. Thank you, appreciate that. Um, yeah, I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't want to open it up. DM, thank you again. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I could. I know enough people around him. Hi, Danica Toots. Someone says hi to you. I don't know if I could get him. Maybe I should try. I should definitely try. Anyway, folks, I've got to reheat some food. I got to feed the family. And I want to thank you for keeping me company. Thanks for all the folks who super chatted us. I say the same thing every time. You don't have to, but we appreciate it. All the money we get on here, we basically put towards advertising. We've done a little bit, like I said a while ago, but not a lot. Hi, Danica, DM. This was great. Thank you, Dwayne, sorry. Yeah, I don't have my shot yet. Thank you. DM, thank you. I don't want to get the AstraZeneca shot because I especially with Shannon with her autoimmune disease, she has to be careful. And Chase has allergies, so we're a motley crew, aren't we? But anyway, so we have to be careful and right now AstraZeneca is the only shot available where we live. Rock on, David. Take care, guys. I appreciate you. And Bob, thanks again. You rock.